You guys are crazy!
You're an animal! Get a job!
You guys are crazy!
First, Representative Omar improperly and deliberately filed for a tax status for which she was not qualified. An illegal action in both federal and state law. The Minnesota Campaign Finance Board found on June 6th of this year that she illegally used campaign funds to pay a law firm to review her tax records. The Campaign Finance Board exposed crystal clear probable cause for a tax fraud or tax evasion investigation when they discovered that Representative Omar filed as married and filing jointly with Mr. Ahmad Hersey in 2014 and 2015. During those years, she was legally married to Mr. Ahmad Elmi. Did the illegal filing produce a lower tax liability for the couple? Did her illegal tax filing bring her tax exemption for which she was not legally qualified? Usually people choose the tax filing status that yields them the lowest tax liability. Also, the board shared that the couple filed jointly during 2 specific years. Ilhan Omar and Ahmad Hersey have been together as a couple for 17 years. Given her record of crimes and violations of so many laws, it may be worth evaluating her claims of status in those other years as well. Second, Representative Omar lived together simultaneously with her first and second husbands at the same addresses in Minnesota and North Dakota in 2009 through 2011. The tax enforcers may need to check if she used an illegal tax filing status and obtained tax deductions, including standard deduction levels for which she was not qualified in those years. Third, we know that Representative Omar took improper kickbacks from 3 Minnesota colleges in 2017 when she oversaw their state budgets in 2017. Under campaign pressure, she returned those kickbacks in 2018. It is worth checking to see if she reported the kickbacks as income in 2017 or deducted the paybacks as expenses in 2018. 5 grounds for an investigation include corruption in public office and tax evasions on grounds of illegal filing status, improper deductions, concealed income from kickbacks, and improper claims for expenses. We are also aware of Representative Omar's pattern of improper conduct. She has been fined by the Campaign Finance Board for diverting campaign funds for an unpermitted political trip to Orlando. She has been directed to pay back her expenses for uncovered political trips to Boston, New York, Philadelphia, Chicago, Florida, and Washington, D.C. She has been punished for conversion of campaign funds to pay for personal legal and accounting services. She has flouted laws regarding the filing of her personal financial data in a way that distorted the political campaign process. On June 25th, I asked my Congresswoman Angie Craig to launch an investigation into these improprieties. That went nowhere. She said, do it yourself. So on July 23rd, I asked the U.S. House Ethics Committee to investigate Representative Omar. That request is currently being reviewed by the Office of Congressional Ethics. On that same day, I launched OmarTruth.com in an effort to rally Minnesotans and Americans to help bring political pressure to bring about a congressional investigation. After 2 weeks, we have over 44,000 citizens expressing their strong desire to bring about a full investigation, and the list is growing. I will be adding today's request to the facts available on OmarTruth.com. Today, I and 9 other representatives are asking the nonpartisan federal and state tax enforcers to open investigations. We are simply asking them to do their jobs.
On this. I mean, what's changed in the last 2 years? I don't see Steny Hoyer invoking anti-Semitic tropes. I don't see Nancy Pelosi invoking anti-Semitic tropes. I don't see any member of Democratic leadership changing their tune on our historical allyship with Israel. The only difference is the introduction of the Squad and the introduction of some of the most virulent anti-Semitism we've had in Congress in years. And especially if you look at the fact that, you know, yesterday Ilhan Omar lied through her teeth to her constituents about the nature of her trip. She said that she had planned to meet with members of the Knesset. According to her only publicly available schedule, this isn't true. And then when she was attacking journalists, myself included yesterday, for calling her out on Twitter and retweeting post-signal boosting harassment against members of the media, including an editor at the Forward, her staff was unable to provide another itinerary and said they were just relying on other people's tweets saying that, oh, allegedly there were some meetings that were talked about with the Knesset after the fact.
Well, let's go ahead and take a listen to a little clip here of what Ilhan Omar had to say yesterday. And this is on aid, U.S. aid to Israel.
We give Israel more than $3 million in aid every year. But denying visit to duly elected members of Congress is not consistent with being an ally.
I mean, you can hear right there, she's not exactly saying, but she is hinting at cutting funding. And before I get your opinions on this, let's take a look at this statement from Hogan Gidley, the White House backing Israel, saying, quote, Israel has the right to prevent people who want to destroy it from entering the country, and Democrats' pointless congressional inquiries here in America cannot change the laws Israel has passed to protect itself. We've had a good relationship with them, as you guys know. You know, foreign aid funding obligations to Israel. You can see, we'll pull this up here on the screen. It's pretty much been consistent over the last couple of years anyway. That's just the last 3 years, as you can see. Kevin, your final thoughts here on whether or not you think that funding should be cut. Should this be something that is looked into, as Omar is suggesting?
Well, I personally think that Israel gets, I think $4 billion is certainly a large amount. But it's been that way, and I don't think it's going to change anytime soon. Even with this, I just don't think this will move the needle that far to the, I guess, to the left, we should say, in terms of cutting aid. But I do think it's important to recognize that Representative Omar and Tlaib, the Squad, as they're called, or part of the Squad, they sort of represent sort of new views and views of sort of the younger Americans who are looking at these foreign aid packages more critically. I mean, why does Israel have to get so much in aid? Yes, they are our strongest ally in the region, and it is important for us to have an ally in order for strategic purposes and our interest in the region. But these are things that voters are starting to look at more closely, whereas before we didn't really ask. It was Israel, they're our ally, so we're going to support them as much as we need to. And I think people are going to look closely at it now. We're
running out of time, but I do want to give Tiana the final word here.
Yeah, I'm sure the same young millennials who want $32 trillion Medicare for All packages are worried about a few billion in foreign aid spending for our only Democratic ally in the region. I mean, I think Ilhan Omar made it abundantly clear. She said if they were an ally, she doesn't view them as an ally. Rashida Tlaib has been open about the fact that she supports the eradication of an independent Jewish state in the region. I mean, they've given the lie to whatever they believe in, and I don't think that this is the future of the Democratic Party, and I certainly hope that for the sake of America and for the sake of liberalism worldwide, that it is not.
All right, Tiana, Kevin, thank you so much for your time. We appreciate it.
Who was asking? I'm sorry, who was asking? Yes, the gentleman. I'd be happy to.
Thank you so much. This is pretty unprecedented that we are trying to protect family members right now of this administration. These are people that have access, but our ranking member needs to understand.
I'll let you finish. Hold on one second.
But
what's unprecedented is the fact that this committee is...
We're talking about the daughter of the president who has access to information.
Mr. Tlaib, he has the time, I assume.
And I'm going to let her back. I just want to say what's unprecedented is the nature of this subpoena and the personal information it's going after.
Let him finish, and then he'll yield to you. All right?
I yield.
Oh, you're yielding now? All right, Mr. Tlaib.
I think it's really important for my colleagues to understand that we're talking about transparency and talking about oversight. These are messages that impact the American people. That right now all I hear is this fear from the other side of information that might come about Ivanka, and we got to protect it. You know, that's all I hear is that you're choosing to protect family members of this current administration that have access to information. They are at the table making decisions on behalf of the American people.
Reclaiming
They
my
don't
time.
have any privacy anymore. They also have
What?
to be accountable to us in this chamber. And Mr. Chairman and Ranking Member, I understand that you want to talk about the specific processes and want to go back and forth about Hillary Clinton and
I'm gonna reclaim-
but
let me
understand
reclaim
that
my
you are
time.
protecting someone that is at the
You-
table now.
This
that has
subpoena,
clearances.
this subpoena is for personal emails, who their domestic help is, who's watching their. That's ridiculous. That is completely off the table. Mr. Chairman,
Would you please, just one last point, Ranking Member, please, just 30 seconds. It stopped becoming personal when they got access into the room. It stopped becoming personal when they got security clearances. It stopped becoming personal when they're in the room making decisions that impact the American people. And they also are sitting at the Trump Organization businesses table as well making decisions. Remember that. Fear that. Because no matter if there's an R or D next to our name, fear the fact that we have corporations, people sitting
Mr. Chairman,
at
I
the
want to
table.
reclaim my time. Yeah, I'm reclaiming my time. This is, again,
23 seconds.
so different than what happened with Secretary Clinton in an attempt to create an appearance of some type of controversy. You won't hear him say it, but their real goal is to go fishing through the personal and private emails of Ivanka Trump and Jared Kushner. The issuance of this subpoena is purely for politics. Chairman Cummings first asked the White House to produce the private emails of senior White House officials on July 1st, 2019. The White House and Abby Lowell, the attorney for Ivanka Trump and Jared Kushner, are cooperating with the request from the chairman. In fact, Mr. Lowell has briefed the committee twice. But Chairman Cummings is rushing to subpoena now for the headlines before the August recess and again choosing confrontation over cooperation. Here are the facts. Here are the facts. Jared Kushner's attorney has told us that he has preserved all records as required by law and does not use personal email or other platforms to conduct official business. Following the law. Imagine that. Ivanka Trump inadvertently used unofficial email for official business on a few rare occasions, but she corrected her actions exactly as the law directs and provided